How you doing?
I'm Jay chillin'.
Oh no.
Oh, hello there. Greetings and welcome to the forest. It's a beautiful day. It's a little bit muddy in the shoes, but we wash them off. All-purpose Crocs never fail. I gotta get a new pair though. You know, eventually. I don't know what shoe size I am though. It's very important that you get a handle of things. Not much intellectuality happening out here. Just a good old time. Just some good old boys on the lake. Just dudes being guys being dudes.
Guys being dudes. Just some
guys being dudes on the lake. Hey there.
Greetings, neighbor.
We're getting up close and personal for this one. So I had my sun hat out. It was a bit windy. It was flipping it up. If I have a sunburn, that's not my fault. I blame the wind. Had a good time, really appreciating the randomness of life. I think we're getting dragged back toward the shore little by little. But, sometimes, things don't work out. Sometimes you thought something was 99%, turns out to be 0%. But sometimes you think something's 1%, and it turns out to be 100%. So it's crazy. I've been talking to some people recently about dreams. I've been talking to some people about visions. And they talk about the power of positive thinking. And, what does that even mean, positive thinking, right? Because the world says it's positive to be, HIV positive. And it's negative to be HIV negative. And so, sometimes I think people get mixed up, but at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about positive thinking, but there's also a power in negative thinking, right? We forget about that. It's the power of positive thinking and negative thinking and everything in between. The power of thinking, the power of the imagination, the power of what Schopenhauer called the will. It is our will, it is will itself, attraction and repulsion and force. That is the fundamental undergirding of the universe. So if you want something to happen, it's not a guarantee that it will happen, but that's really the only way at the end of the day. Because if you don't want something to happen, if you want to fail, if you want to be punished because you feel guilty and you don't know how to, be released or forgiven from that guilt, if you want to be punished, someone can hand you $1 million and you'll burn it. You will spend it on short hedonism because you don't believe in your capacity to save. You don't believe in your capacity to be satisfied and enjoy and be grateful for, a well-regulated life. And maybe there are some people who need to be a little bit wild and crazy, and I'm certainly a little more on that side of the spectrum, but it does make you stop and consider things of, when people tell you how horrible everything is. And obviously we have to be honest about the challenges we have, but just because we have challenges, just because they're unique, just because they're maybe spiritual and not material, we've got all this material wealth, but we've got all this emotional deprivation. I talk to people and everyone's doing things remotely and people are suffering, not materially, but they're suffering emotionally, socially, psychologically, and spiritually. So it's a different kind of challenge than maybe the one we'd like. We'd like to play video games. We'd like to play Minecraft. We'd like to have a physical challenge. And certainly there are places you could find that physical challenge. But, we've got challenges, and ultimately it's not horrible. It's not horrible. The existence of horrible things does not make a horrible life or horrible situation. A dragon is horrible, but the existence of dragons is not horrible. Fighting a dragon is not horrible. Fighting a dragon is awesome. And that's really what it means. Fighting a dragon is heroic. The only way to be heroic and to be awesome is to make contact with those things which are hard. Remember what JFK said. He said, we choose to go to the moon and do the other thing, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. And he was right, and JFK was right, that the only thing worth doing are the things which are hard, and that's really the only way that you will ever really feel not just good in the sense of feeling positive or dopamine, but feeling good as if, you are a good person. Unless you are encountering what is for you hard or what's for you challenging, you can't be good. Goodness is found in the struggle against things which are hard. So we think about these things as we're out here relaxing on this lake, having a good time, and it's not very hard. It's not very hard, but it does make you reflect on the despair, hedonism cycle, the distraction, the desire to give up, the desire to say things are impossible. Some things are impossible. And I certainly don't want people to hit their heads against an impossible wall of thinking that, maybe if we try doing the same thing over and over again, we're going to get a different result. I do believe people need to try new things which have never been tried before. That's different, I think, from trying something that people think is impossible. Two different things. So, I'd never expected to be out here. I don't know really where I am, to be entirely honest with you. I mean, I could show you on Google Maps. But looking at Google Maps and being here is two different things. And I arrived here really through I arrived here through nothing except the desire to be not exactly here, but to be somewhere. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I would end up. I didn't know who I would meet. I didn't know what would happen, and I didn't know how all of it would come together. But I simply said, we must keep going. We must keep going forward. There is no backwards. There is no returning to what's comfortable. And yeah, I found a place that is very comfortable. I am very comfortable here. You know what's not comfortable? Being in a box, being in a cage, being in a prison. Now it's familiar, but it's not comfortable. Comfort is not the same thing as similarity. It's not the same thing as ease. The easiest path would not have been to come here. The easiest path would have been to say, well, I guess I'll just stay put, or I'll get a hotel, or I'll go to a public park, or I'll go to maybe a landmark on the map. I'll look up, tourism sites in my area, and I would never find this place. That would have been the quote-unquote easy thing to do, the well-trodden path, and, we could have spent a bunch of money achieving some kind of similar thing, but you don't. You don't need to spend a bunch of money. You don't need to, it's like, sometimes they say don't work hard, work smart. And I think sometimes in our laziness, we end up, it ends up being harder in the end when you're lazy. When you're lazy and you say, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to set goals, I'm not going to create challenges, I'm just going to be lazy, I'm going to stay put because that's what's easy for me. In the end, the sum total of your life, things like waking up in the morning become hard, but when you have a challenge and when you are forced to do and go and act and make and construct and build, then getting up out of the morning becomes easy. So it's like the hardest things become easy and the easiest things become hard depending on what is your outlook on life. Do you believe that challenges and obstacles are there to trip you up, and that, if God only made a world where we had cheat codes so we could have whatever we wanted, that's your outlook, that an unfair demiurge has put you here to suffer, then you will suffer. Your belief will force you to suffer, because no matter how good you have it, no matter how many opportunities are laid at your feet, you'll refuse them all, and you'll see them as just another opportunity to suffer. But if you look at all these obstacles and challenges as the heart of what makes life great and awesome and heroic, then you're going to find comfort in peace in your life where other people find difficulty. I rode out here. I had to use my arms and muscles. You know, what was my goal? What was my purpose? Where's the dopamine? Where's the sugar? Where is the candy? Well, it's in the thing itself. It's in doing the thing. And that we're here, and now, you know, this wind, this breeze is just sort of carrying us and gliding us along. And it's easy, and there's birds in the sky. People always say, look at the birds, you know. The birds, as they fly, they aren't just sitting on the ground, but they are also constantly flapping. It's this interplay between gliding and flapping, and sometimes you flap and sometimes you glide. And you can only glide if you flap. Remember that you can only glide if you flap. If you don't flap first, you'll never glide. You'll never experience the feeling of gliding. And when you glide, it's easier than standing. It's easier than sitting. The bird that never flaps will never glide. He'll always be on the ground. He'll never experience the gliding, the glory of gliding. So I'm asking you to flap. I'm asking you to flap your wings, to put in that effort, to put in that energy, to go toward the sky where you don't know where you're going to end up. Where am I going to end up? I go in the sky. Where am I going to come down? What's going to happen to me? I'm just asking you to flap, whatever that means for you. Some people, different people have different wings. Some people have wings. Some people have fins. Some people have feet. We all have different tools that allow us to do different things, of art, of engineering, of talking. We have different tools, but I'm asking you to use what you have. And if you don't know what you have, push yourself. And you're going to find out very quickly what you have and what you don't have, and maybe what you need, and maybe what you want, and maybe what you don't need, and what you can let go of and what's holding you back, what's necessary, what's unnecessary. But if you start flapping, maybe not at first, but you keep flapping, I guarantee you're going to glide. You're going to start gliding. All the problems in the world, the things that you worry about, the things that make you fearful and anxious and suffer, and the pain and your past and your memories and your future anxieties, all of those will regulate themselves through effort and through discipline and through trying again and again and again, no matter how many times you fail. Not trying the same thing again, but trying different things, saying, okay, that didn't work out, what's next? I tried plan A, what's plan B and plan C, all the way to plan Z. And then you say, okay, we did the Latin alphabet, time for the Greek alphabet. Okay, we did the Greek alphabet. Have you heard of Cyrillic? Maybe we could try out some Gaijin, some Japanese, some Chinese. We'll go to the Ethiopian alphabet. We'll go to Korean. We'll make new alphabets. It doesn't matter. You focus on the plan ahead of you, and you try as hard as possible. You don't spend your whole time going through the alphabet saying, should I do A, B, C, D, or Z? Which letter do we choose? No, you choose the first one. When I walk into a restaurant and I look at the menu, you know the thing I do? I look at the first thing that doesn't disgust me. And if it doesn't have beans or cheese, I get it. And you know how much stress that eliminates in my life versus I have to examine everything on the menu. No, you can always go back to that restaurant and you can try something else. If it doesn't work out, you try something else. But so much of life is trapped in the indecision of which plan am I going to take rather than what am I going to do today. And let's create something provisional rather than this agnostic nihilism of, oh, well, there's infinite possibilities, I can't choose any of them. No, because there's infinite possibilities, you have to choose one of them. You have to, because otherwise you're never going to experience any of them. You're never going to glide. Now, I like this metaphor so much because sometimes when you talk about walking on a path, there's always a concept of getting to the end destination, and I don't like to think in those terms because I think we're too small to think of end destinations. and life doesn't always work that way. But I really like the idea of you're flapping and you're gliding. And if you can have that mentality, if we just have to flap, no matter where we are, no matter where we're going, we just have to flap, then you will eventually glide. And that's the feeling that we're really looking for. It's not the feeling of, oh, I finally touched down. No, touching down and getting home, that's nice too. But really, it's only nice in the sense that it gives you the rest so that you can go up there again. Life is not about being on the ground, it's about gliding. And we have a big, beautiful, clear sky. I don't see a cloud in the sky. The sun is out, the sun is shining. And, I mean, there's really not much more to say. So with that, I bid you adieu, and I will see you another day. Ta-ta for now. Stay classy, San Diego.